Henry McClure live. Karen, the longer I linger around Topeka, Kansas, I've noticed there's two Topekas. What's good for thee ain't good for me. The whole allure of move downtown and getting zoning changed, and then, you know, I don't know. I'd really love to figure out how many millions we put into downtown. I know that if you were going to do it, you'd hire some consultant to come up with it instead of just making somebody on staff add up the to do the accounting. But over the years, we've grown apart in our views. So now that I live downtown, I look around and I want downtown to be better. Adams Street from 5th to 8th is one of the worst streets in Topeka. There's a young man, that Todd Conkle. He's trying to revitalize the area. Man, I love his plans that he's got for the Capital Journal. And uh, there's businesses down there. There's just people. I'm telling you, I see more police cars go down Adams, Amtrak's down there. And then I get down there, not only the street bad, but there's a fella that's got a code violation, and that's been a code violation. But yeah, that thing is terrible. But economic development starts in the neighborhood. And if you're going to deal with the rich guys got to also fix stuff up. The rich guy, maybe they're getting rich because they don't have to play by the rules. Maybe they're getting rich because they have their own set of rules. That brings having a set of rules, that brings up the Lawrence Bay issue. How could you, now that I found their GO bonds and they're all put on by the city, how could you had to be on the council. I don't know how long you've been lingering on the council. I think it might be too long. And I think it's time for a change in District 1. It's kind of like, they say it's kind of like babies in diapers. Politicians. I don't know what your background was at credit and housing. I don't know. I really don't know you. Um, that's the problem with capitalists. Other capitalists measure people by, well, what have you done? What kind of business did you do? Um, I don't know what you've done really, except be a city council person. I mean, I'm telling you, we really got crossways when you voted to turn the College Hill land into a bark park. I've never seen anything more asinine than Bill Fyander um, saying that is economic development. And in fact, that's kind of the whole theme going on right now is we've got to reevaluate what economic development is as a community, because originally the sales tax was to grow the tax base and increase the population, and it did neither. So why don't you, and not engage a study, but why don't we look internally about the success of where the sales tax dollars are going? The last thing we need to do is give the Mars family corporate welfare. When I live on a street, a fourth generation Topekan, And I'm giving money to the richest people in the world. One of the richest family in the world is getting corporate welfare, and I've got to live with bad streets so they can have more money. The lighting is terrible down in our area. We've had to put up some security lights at the building. And then you told the guy that owns the building that there's just no way we could do anything. Well, he didn't listen to you, thank God. And Braxton Copley steps up and looks around, took care of it. But why would you discourage? You're trying to pick the winners. I know you got to pick your battles. Howard Paul told me the other day that he knows of 11 deals that couldn't get permits in the city of Topeka. The sale transaction and the loan transaction, they don't take place until permits happen. Look what's going on. My Pizza Hut deal still isn't done. Oh, and here's the creme de la creme. Wait till you hear this. So we try like hell on the boulevard to get a stoplight put in. Because some of the people that we were talking to wanted a stoplight. We're told not only no, but hell no. So time marches on, and finally we get one of the people to we get one of the people to agree to go on the corner, because at 32nd and 32nd and Topeka Boulevard, the stoplight that Dana K. Anderson got put in the 60s. He had to go talk to KDOT because at that time Topeka Boulevard was a state highway, and that was a big deal to get that highway done in or that light in the 60s. So, see, I've been involved with that project, the Boulevard project, basically because I've known Mace Siegel and Dana K. Anderson. I worked for the company since '83. I also worked on that. I worked on that property when I lived in California. I had a project. I had a project where I worked on properties all over the country, and I wanted to work on White Lake, or I wanted to work on the original properties because May still own those, and having a good relationship with Mace at that company was always important. It was always important. So now, after the deals are made and the money's all signed up, now the city comes back and says, "Okay, you got to spend $1 million now." Well, what? Yeah, you got to put a stoplight in. I mean, come on. This is going to be a Ghetto request. I mean, here's one thing you guys don't know and you're not looking into it. And you've got the engineers, you got the insane running the asylum. Nobody has any common sense. We need to go back in time. When Richmond Gordman was in their heyday, they did $14.5 million in sales. And if you look at their price points and you figure $14 million, there's 14.5 million. There's a way to extrapolate that. There is a way to extrapolate the sales based on their price point, and you could kind of figure out what kind of traffic it is. I mean, that is the number you tell Bennigan's and Steak and Ale to come do business with you. So, hey, you tell Bennigan's and Steak and Ale, look, these guys are doing 14.5 million. You're going to want to do that deal. I can't really remember the theater sales. The theaters just all a theater is it's a concession stand. You know what I mean? You can't make big money on popcorn and soda. But I'll bet you well anyway. So um Finnegan's in their heyday did $3.5 million in sales. Steak and Ale in their heyday did 27 million or 2.7 million. So these all you got to take all those sales figures, do the math, add it up 14 and a half, 3.5, 2.7, add it up. I mean, you can do it in your head. But all that plus the theater, that is, and I'll bet you I got a file somewhere around this joint. I still got all the files on that project. I bet I could find this. I'll bet you somewhere I could find the theater sales. But the point is, the average sale of Chick-fil-A is 8 million, and uh, I don't know what the average sale of the other guy is. So now that the Gordman's building is mainline, basically no traffic. You know, they have some trucks come up and some, but it's nowhere going to generate the traffic. I mean, the most cars I've ever seen over there are 6 or 7 during the day. They're printing full time. Semis come and go. Semis, semis had to come and go for Gordman's, and semis had to come and go for all the other guys. So, hey, listen, what I'm trying to get at is it's unfair. It's unfair for the engineers to not to not take that into consideration. When now all of a sudden they're saying, "Yeah, now you need a traffic light." Or if we would have known we could have done a traffic light earlier, we could have got better deals out of the land. We could have. It just seems like the city of Topeka, they're gonna find a way to ruin the deal. It's like you working overtime on it. This whole horseshit about the Jetto dollars and Go Topeka about creating jobs, that's sophistry. Look at the interlocal agreement. Their day's come and gone. Today, today we need to defund Go Topeka. We need to engage every real estate person in the city of Topeka or anybody that belongs to the Sunflowers Association, plus anybody that has a real estate license that wants to get involved. We'll ask Brian Slosher, who's a real estate commissioner, smart lawyer. Own, he's still working for Coldwell Banker Commercial, and I think he's general counsel to Coldwell Banker. The people that have bought it, want him around, solid citizen. But I'm sure he can come up with some sort of listing. And Jetto should foreclose. They should have Jetto needs to have Go Topeka deed all the real estate back to Jetto or figure it out. Look, I didn't elect Go Topeka. I elected you guys. We elected our council people. And Neil said, "Oh, having that deal, oh, that opens up Pandora's box." And then when he did that little thing to me the other day, and Neil's fingerprints over a lot of the problems around this town. It's time for Neil to retire. I was in Steve Wade's office the day they retired um, our buddy Bill Cochran. And you guys just don't get it. Why don't you look at every good thing that Bill's got? You ought to hear about his you ought to hear about his job over in Afghanistan. Run protection services. Bill's a warrior. Bill's a street guy too. Bill spent time as one guy's right hand man, chief of staff. He was an interim city manager. I want to bring Bill Cochran back. You guys, everybody's an employee at will. Don't sign a contract with the dude. Just let him go to work. Telling you, if I can't get the Jetto dollars turn around, I went out originally. I went out originally and made sure, um, that sales tax got renewed. Also, I want to talk to Joan. I was talking to Joan Wagner the other day. She said she set up Go Topeka to, I guess, so the council didn't have their hands in it. But there's an inherent conflict of interest between the Chamber of Commerce protecting their base and new deals coming to Topeka. And you've got Go Topeka. It's like marrying your first cousin. It's like in England, all those guys in the royal families got those big ears and long noses. That's Topeka. Too incestuous. It's not going to be long. We're going to start hearing about the big things going on at the airport because now we got Curtis out there. But hey, he's a magician, so he'll work his magic. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Henry McClure live. I'm not giving up on this town.